A shout out to our podcast sponsor, sportsponsorship.co.uk. If you or your business are interested in making a real difference to the Scottish game, supporting hundreds of kids into regular football, get in touch with sportsponsorship.co.uk and they'll find the right fit for your brand.
What kind of pie are you on? Kebab with chili
Stuart's
sauce?
Bakery,
Mm-hmm.
doner pie, after our discussion last week.
Holy shit.
Thoughts?
With chili sauce inside it?
Spicy, is it?
Wait, what? You were like vehemently against.
I was slagging it off, and I thought, you know what, I've had one. You can't just base the rest of your life not trying something because you've had it once. You got to try again.
Fair enough.
Local convenience store yesterday. Saw them just by coincidence and thought, you know what, that would go down well. And to be fair, I'm halfway through it, and now that I know what to expect, it's quite nice.
Just bites it in his first ever kebab pie with chili sauce, just screaming, "Ah!" I thought it'd be garlic.
It's no mac and cheese pie, but it's.
Did you heat it up? Did you put it in the oven?
Oh, it's been in the oven for about 17 minutes. Yeah.
And that's Stuart's, which I forgot last week, are the official pie provider at Starks Park in Kirkcaldy. So get yourselves down to Starks Park for a kebab pie. And we don't do rollovers just yet, but maybe that's the next step. Yeah.
Some free marketing for Stuart's.
Yes.
You're welcome, Stuart. Whoever you are.
Stuart, my man. Not Stevens.
What's the juice of choice there?
Oh, you'd be interested to know. It's a
Like
Polish
spicy.
energy drink called
Okay.
Frugo.
Frugo. Ooh.
Now, they used to have to get ID'd, or well, it used to be when you're obviously when you buy an energy drink, you have to check or they have to be over 16. But
Right.
Frugo have changed their recipe and now proudly state on their tin, no ID needed, so you can just buy this if you're 12 years old or 11.
Naughty.
And you
Does
want an
it
energy
give you a
drink?
good boost?
Nah,
No, not really.
I bleed. Cut me open, I'll bleed energy drink, you know? My blood is fluorescent green.
Monster through and through.
Monster loyal. But this is alright, it's only 70 pence in Asda, so there you go. It's quite tasty.
Beautiful.
Watermelon and strawberry flavour. So there you go. It's like more of a Lucozade than a Monster sort of vibe, you know, but we go
Three different
again.
approaches to the pod this week. We've got tenants across here where I am. You've got the American beer for Andrew and classic energy drink for Struggy.
I mean, this isn't going to
With
be
a
a
straw.
weekly thing with the Budweiser, because it is
No,
disgusting.
you can go Budweiser, then you can go Bud Light, you can go Miller Light, you can
Coors Light.
have Yingling. I think they drink a lot of Yingling in America.
Yingling?
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't know. I hear it on a lot of American TV shows, Yingling.
What is it like? Like a... What is it? Like a
I don't think it is American. I mean, I'll
weird
need to
fruit
maybe
thing or something? Or
do a quick Google. No, it's a beer.
Like Madri Spanish, mate.
Yingling.
Hmm.
I'm gonna fuck this up. It's not gonna be beer at all.
I was looking at beers, and did you know that the Brooklyn Lager is actually Carlsberg?
Brooklyn Lagers Carlsberg. Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Danish.
They called it Brooklyn because it's cool to be from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And it's cool to be Spanish as well, like that Madri. Wear a
yeah.
funky
Madrid's
hat.
just what do you call it? It's just carling, isn't it? Old recipe
Yup,
carling.
Yingling. D.G. Yingling and Son, established in 1829, is the oldest operating brewing company in the U.S. from Pottsville,
Jeez.
Pennsylvania.
I've
There you
never
go.
heard of it.
Well, you want to upgrade to a new beer.
Need to have a wee look
Do
for
they
that.
sell it in Tesco or other supermarkets?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I don't think we get it over here. That's why you're probably not aware, but I'm sure it's mentioned in quite a lot of Yank sitcoms and that.
Like
Need
what?
to get an import.
Yes, I'm sure you'll have
Bloody tariffs.
sure you'll have connections now through your
You're
boys.
selling beer
I-
52 or something.
I can all the boys in America now.
I wish other people would understand that reference.
Yeah, it's just a bit of an
Shout
intro.
out to Kev if you're listening. What a boy. Should have full name dropped him there.
Yeah.
In the bio.
Just about.
Should we get started? Episode 2, we're back. We've not been cancelled. We're here for another week of Scottish football chat. And even though it is episode 2, we're going big early doors with an end of season review, handing out some awards, which are prestigious. I'm sure people are listening out with their ears pressed up to the old computer, waiting to hear if there've been a recipient of a Tinpot award. We've got Matt and Andrew joining me, Tom, your host. How are you gentlemen on this fine Monday evening?
After you, sir.
Well, I'm feeling very patriotic at the moment. I was at a Robert the Bruce festival in Dunfermline at the weekend, so I'm feeling pretty proud to be Scottish. It was a fun event had by all in the Glen in Dunfermline.
What was at this Robert the Bruce festival?
Well, if you didn't know, Robert the Bruce is buried in Dunfermline Abbey. So, yep. And apparently he's from the olden times. So there's lots of folk dressed up in. There's folk dressed up as kings and knights and jesters, and there was jousting, and there was sort of like artifacts, and you could discuss it with people. And there was stalls, and there was also a kids' fun fair, where there was crusty old bouncy castles and creaking rickety merry-go-rounds that were £3 a pop. The kids were that was the kids' main attraction was these. One was a Loch Ness monster themed bouncy castle, and I'll tell you, I don't remember seeing that in Braveheart. Any bouncy castles, but I'll tell you, they rinsed me for money. Those crafty folks,
Did anyone get absolutely nailed with the joust? Was it like proper contact jousting or?
It was I guess it was a rehearsed sort of skit that they did where, of course, Robert the Bruce was the winner of the jousting tournament. It was quite entertaining. They were actually I think they did hit each other. It was kind of like wrestling vibes,
Incredible.
It was well put on, and big Jim Leishman was there to cut the old ribbon, so to speak. Yeah. And make a wee speech, I believe. I think he's getting himself up on. He's everywhere. He was actually, funnily enough, there was a fun fair thing at my daughter's nursery today.
Jim Leishman was there as well.
Yeah, true. I wasn't there, but apparently Jim Leishman gave a speech as well there.
That's incredible.
He loves the sound of his own voice, I think. So Big Jim was giving the kids a speech. But no, the Robert the Bruce Festival was very good, very busy. And I said to Tom the other day, I was surprised that the guy who played Robert the Bruce in the film Braveheart wasn't there.
Yeah, that's gutting.
This guy, he was in Braveheart, but no one knows what else he's been in, right? He's been in nothing else. Like, I'm sure he's been in stuff, but nothing as big as Braveheart. So I said to Tom, why didn't you have a stall, set up between the ice cream van and the I don't know, barbecue beef stand selling brisket or whatever it was, selling headshots for £10 a pop? I swear he would have cleared out, honestly.
Yeah, big time. Get like merchandise on the go and
a t-shirt with his face on it, or him and his like crusty dad that was like
with all this stuff on. Yeah, what was up with his dad? Did he have like leprosy or something like that?
Yeah, I think. But so he wasn't there. The guy never turned up. Just Jim Leishman and bouncy castles.
Jim Leishman. Jim Leishman, was he like in Get Up, or was he just?
Yeah, he's the provost. So he had all his chains on and his gold medal or whatever.
Incredible.
I don't know.
So good.
Leishman is the man around here. When he opens a fun fair or a kids club party, he gets respect. The kids listen to Big Jim.
That's it.
But that was my weekend. So I might watch Braveheart soon again. I was
keep your eyes out for bouncy castles, yeah.
Yeah. Mate,
how about you? Are you tired as like Matt? What's your vibe?
I'm feeling all right. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Just the old Rangers takeover got me pretty excited over the weekend. So yeah, feeling good on the American beers today, which is pretty cringe. But didn't have like an American flag or a MAGA hat kicking about the house. So yeah, just whipped out the old Budweiser. But yeah, no. Just excited to see what it brings. We were having a bit of a chat about it earlier, but yeah, it's an interesting one. It's quite unique in our lifetime, I guess. Like just having something as monumentous as that happening to a big club in Scotland, and there seems to be such a massive attraction from America to Scottish football. Like it's crazy if you look at like Hibs and you look at Dunfermline and who else? St Johnson, Dundee United. Hearts actually had a offer of a big takeover, I'm sure, from America at some point. It's just seems to be a bit of a running theme. So yeah, really interesting. I won't go on about it because I could go on about it for about an hour. But yeah, really interested to see what happens.
That's the highlight of what's going on with you. Just excited for the corn dogs in the Copeland and.
That's it, yeah. Cookouts,
tailgating.
Cheerleaders, and probably should have thought of something to say immediately after that. What else do they do? Lasso some cows. Could do that.
Get the buffalo back for some lassoing. Yeah.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty big old buffalo, isn't he? So yeah. Excited to see what happens. So we'll see. I remember taking the mick out of you as a United fan with the American takeover for quite a while. So starting to put the old foot in the mouth there now. So yeah.
Hopefully they can make a bit more money than United. I don't think
I was going to say.
I don't think the boys done anything. I think he's debt by what's the debt, like millions of pounds.
Yeah, we don't worry about that. We don't worry about that.
Is it worse? Is it
European
worse than
football.
It was?
Yeah, only two relegations, I think, no, in the time.
Yeah, just a couple.
Just a couple
back
relegations.
in the big time, big in the back time.
That's right. You are actually, yeah. Yeah, onwards and upwards. It's
Exactly.
exciting.
Well, Matthew's tired. You're excited, and I am also excited because it's time to get tucked into some awards. And I, all week in preparation for this, have been buzzing. The way this is going to work is we've got 4 categories. We're going to award, first of all, the manager of the season, and then we're going to look at signing of the season, and this is across, obviously, the SPFL. Then we're going to look at goal of the season, not look at it, because it's a podcast. And then we're going to look at the most Tinpot moment, which could be something embarrassing, something a bit shit, generally. So those are the awards. You guys are going to nominate who you think deserves each award, and then you're going to debate it, try and convince the other one to join your side. If we can't get on the same page, then I'm going to decide who wins the award. Does that make sense to you, lads?
One first, like each category or something like that? Is that how it's going to work? Or
am I going to do what? Give one each
like one first for each category kind of thing, just to mix it up?
Yeah, so you can start off on the first one once I've given you the short list. Oh, I like the dance.
Yeah, thank
you. For
you.
those listening on Apple Music or Spotify, Andrew is giving the old shoulder shimmy. So
Probably
check that out on
shuffle.
YouTube. Yeah, the shuffle.
5-knuckle shuffle.
All right, let's have our first award, gentlemen. Manager of the season. So you can go out with the short list, but I'll give you a few options just in case you've forgotten who's been standout this year. Shortlisted are Dick Campbell for East Fife, his 7th promotion with I think his 5th different club. We have Jim Goodwin for Dundee United Football Club, promoted last year and finishing 4th with 53 points into the European places. Third on the shortlist is John McGlynn for Falkirk, back-to-back promotions. Falkirk back in the big time after 15 years away. We've also got David Gray for Hibs. A lot of people were calling for his head at the start of the season. He's turned things around, finishing 3rd. Pretty remarkable. Paul Hartley for Cove. He gets in the shortlist somehow. Narrowly lost out on promotion to the Championship with Cove. And I also chucked in Scott Kelleher, the caretaker for Cali. Had obviously a points deduction, but took their points per game from 1.2 to 1.8. Some pretty smart loan signings were brought in by him because they couldn't really spend any money. So that's your shortlist. Andrew, are you going for one of those, or are you going for a man of your own?
I am actually going for one of those, yeah. And I think I've got actually quite decent opinions on some of the nominees as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Matthew says. But yeah, I'm not just picking this because Matthew seems to have an absolute vendetta against Falkirk, which I've got to apologise to the Falkirk fans because we have to put up with this every day, and it's not fair. And it's a real shame that it's come to this. But McGlynn's the man for me. Just the job that was done coming out of League One, going into the Championship. I don't think at the start of that season, realistically, you would have said that they would have won that league. I think that, they would have been in contention for playoffs, but to come up and then do what they've done, I think is brilliant, remarkable. They've taken a lot of the talent they had in League One as well with them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to them as they go up into the Prem. Being in a position to actually attract, a player like Scott Arfield. I know he has a connection with the club, a deep connection with the club, but I do think that if they were maybe where they were expected to be, I don't think that they would have had a shot of, or a decent shot of taking someone like that back to the club. I know it's kind of going away from it, but I think just the way that the club's been ran, by Jamie Swinney, I think he's done a sensational job, like incredible job. And he's been a really shrewd leader, and they've not spent, as far as I understand, insane money, throughout their campaign, right from sort of League One, then through to the Championship season. They've been very, very sensible, and when they've gone for someone that is of a higher profile like a Scott Arfield, they've gone at the right time. They've gone in that January window, and that's then, let's be honest, made a huge difference to getting them over the line. So it's been a really smart decision. But to go away from the higher leadership, if you like, and back to the manager, I just think the way that he's nurtured that talent, from League One, and then won that league, is massive for Falkirk. And to see them back in the Prem, personally, I know Matthew won't agree, but I think it's a huge thing because they've got an excellent following. And when I was a boy, I remember getting picking up my cards out of the newsagent, and you'd have Falkirk players in there, you'd have Partick Thistle players in there as well. And it's a shame to Wraith players too, actually, Matthew. So,
I don't think many.
So
showing your age now.
Exactly, but it's good to see Falkirk are deserving, certainly with their fan base, deserving of going back up, and they'll bring a really good atmosphere to the Prem. I think some other teams, over the years maybe haven't been a massive addition, but they will be. They definitely will be, and I actually feel reasonably confident that they'll stay up, and not do anything crazy. They're pretty much fan owned, aren't they now? So I think they're in a really good position to do well next season. So yeah, McGlynn's certainly my nominee. As I said, I've got
sing a song.
I'm not disrespectful like you. So I wouldn't.
We didn't care. You had no hair, Andrew.
No, I wouldn't say anything like that. Criticise someone's appearances like that. It's harsh. But yeah.
Give me another few episodes. Let's see how that goes. A few more Budweisers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, he's my nominee. I do have opinions on the other nominees that you mentioned, but I'll reserve them to see what Matthew says.
So yeah, pretty good. Good. Well, I would say good choice in my opinion. But Matthew, do you have any difference of opinion, or are you also going John McGlynn?
No. Well, obviously the answer is John McGlynn, but I'm not going to pick John McGlynn. Not because I have
You just conceded off the bat.
No, I'm going to give my opinion on my manager this season, but John McGlynn's obviously the manager of the season, but that's
What a waste of time
He
this
just
is.
hates Falkirk that much.
No. John McGlynn has done a good job, but you know who's done a better job than John McGlynn? We'll go from that. You know who's done a better job? A certain Scott Kelleher at Inverness Caledonian Thistle. Now, you may not know much about old Scott. You may have seen him in the background when they show the manager. For the past 20 years, he's been the man behind the scenes at Inverness. He's been at the club since 2006 in a coaching role, the youth team, assistant manager, through some of the most successful periods in the club's history. And when they needed him most, when they were in the doldrums, when they were on the brink, who stepped up? Mr. Scott Kelleher. He took a team that was a shambles under Big Dunk, who couldn't score a goal to save themselves, who were plummeting, who were going down to League 2, disaster, end of Inverness potentially. 15-point deduction, he took them on an amazing run. And if it hadn't been for the deduction, they would have finished second in the league. He took young players on loan. They performed superbly. Had some big results, big wins. They survived relegation. They were pretty comfortable in the end.
Yeah,
So-
but wouldn't you say that there was much less stability at Inverness in the first half of the season than the second? I'm not discounting what he's done, and I'm not also discounting the fact that Big Dunk, in my opinion, massively underperformed. He was under a lot of pressure. At the end of the season, they got relegated from the Championship. I mean, the fans were in absolute uproar. But, I've seen quite a few of his interviews, when he's not got results, in League One. And, he turned into a bit of a whinge, if I'm really honest. But Scott, look, I think there's no denying he's definitely done a good job. But let's be serious, Alan Savage gave much more stability in the second half of the season, like no doubt about that. And secondly, it's not like they've got a crap team. They've still got probably on paper the best team, or certainly one of the best teams in that league. Even going through their troubles, they've still got a way healthier budget than anyone, in that league, probably including Arbroath, to be fair. So for him to be taking them with his form into second, if they were playing with that form, that's where they should have been. They should have won that league. And I mean, they're being very vocal about it now, saying that they're absolutely going to romp the league next season. So,
he came in when Dunk left, and he took a squad that was clearly struggling. And when you get a 15-point deduction, and they did at the beginning of the season, I mean, you hope you can, get that sort of siege mentality. You can get some sort of spirit going in within the squad. You can get a momentum. You can sort of, us against them, we're going to prove everyone wrong. Duncan couldn't do that. He couldn't get anything out of the players. Scott came in, and obviously he'd been at Inverness a long time. He understood what it means to play for Inverness, and he instilled that sort of passion and fight in the players. I think Duncan Ferguson perhaps made it about himself a bit,
Yeah, definitely. You could tell that at times, yeah.
One thing picking a fight with John McGlynn, Matt, but you're picking a fight with Big Dunk here. Easy, Tiger.
To be fair, I've not really done anything for Big Dunk here either. But
Dunk's a good man and a good TV personality. And he can talk a good game. He's a very strong man and tough guy. So
He shat the bed. Oh.
But he didn't do very well at Inverness. I don't think he can argue with that. Clearly was the wrong fit, and he should have left this summer. And I suppose he did help the club in terms of, I'm sure he deferred wages or
he did,
things like that. But it just wasn't right, and it wasn't going. It was going one way, and that was down. And, Big Scott, when the time was needed, he stepped up, and he's the main man now at Inverness, and he's going to try and get them promoted. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, John McGlynn for manager of the season. Cheers.
I was going to say, it sounds like you're. We need to come to a decision, and you'd already convinced yourself to go with Andrew's choice before you'd spoken. So, have either of you convinced the other one? Andrew, are you moving to Scott, or Matt, are you moving to John?
No, I mean I'm not moving, but I would say that I don't necessarily disagree with Matt, but and I think Scott is the right fit for Cali Thistle for next season. Definitely, like I do think so. He's got it absolutely on the head with that's the identity of the club, and they need to stick with someone who understands the identity of the club. So I'm sure he'll do very well next season. But yeah, with a healthy budget as well behind them, it'd be interesting to see what kind of step up if he can make it through next season. What kind of step up he can take as a manager into the championship? If they do win the league as expected. So that'll be a true test. But for me, I think he's just had it a wee bit too easy. So I can't sway my vote towards Matt, unfortunately.
The real question is, why was Paul Hartley on no shortlist, Tom? What was that about?
Yeah, what was that about?
Yeah, Paul Hartley, come on.
I think maybe it was just because recently I was watching the playoff and I thought his Cove side did quite well against Airdrie. Yeah, I mean, it probably shouldn't have been on the shortlist. I mean, Davy Martindale should have been on the shortlist, I think. He's been omitted for some reason.
We'll get one bald man on the shortlist, is that it?
Yeah, there's a
I mean,
bald
Dick Campbell.
Oh, he's bald as well, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Bald cap wearing men, yeah, only allowed. Dave Martindale, if you had a cap on, son, you would have been a funny hat, like John McGlynn's got his baseball cap that's too small that he just propped on top of his head.
This is going to get clipped up again, mate. This is going to get clipped.
Dick Campbell's got his old man hat.
Yeah, continue the feud between you and that our Falkirk fan on our socials.
What do they call the hat that Dick Campbell wears? What's it called? The wee
bonnet.
Bonnet, yeah, bonnet. Dick's bonnet.
Flat cap, yeah.
Yeah, Dick's bonnet.
So are we unanimous then? That our first awards, our Tinpot Best Manager of the Season goes to John McGlynn.
Who would you have went for?
Yeah, I would have said John.
Not a good one. Not a biased vote to Goodwin.
No, I'm definitely not biased. If there's a most handsome manager, he's getting the vote all day long. The old silver fox that he is.
The beard and the hairline there is, it's pretty impressive.
Roddy's stupendous.
Back to Falkirk, getting a team promoted from League One to Premiership. I mean, that's unheard of in Scotland. No, when did that ever happen before?
Someone's backtracking this.
Come
on, Falkirk.
Gretna. Yeah, back in the day. The Dr. Duker, he was the man. But no, right, that's award number one, finito, and congratulations to John. I will pop round to Falkirk Stadium in the pre-season to hand you your trophy, my good man. On to best signing. I'll give you a quick shortlist again, and then we'll come to you, Matt, to see who your nominee is. So we have Fraser Taylor for Arbroath, who was actually a loan signing from St Mirren. 21 goal involvements in 28 games for them. Another loan signing, Liam McFarlane for East Fife. He was on loan from Hearts and was a fantastic keeper, was influential in their run in the league. Andy Munro also for East Fife, so that's two East Fife players out the way, a rock at the back, very experienced professional. Robbie Muirhead for Livingston after losing Bruce Anderson. I think they needed someone to step in, and he's definitely done that, especially a goal in the playoff that we'll all remember. Casper Schmeichel, we're going to get a Premiership mention for Celtic. Losing Joe Hart was massive, I think, or could have been, but Celtic have continued their track record of signing top-class goalkeepers. Staying in the Prem, we're going to go for two Hibs players back-to-back. Nicky Cadden is one, a free transfer from Barnsley. Shouts for a Scotland call-up, plenty of goal involvements from the left side of the pitch. And then Triantis, also for Hibs, on loan from Sunderland. I think is going back down that way next season. And we've got two more nominees. I'm just rattling off a massive shortlist. It's turned into a long list. Innes Lawson for Edinburgh City. Now, I've not seen much of him, but I do have a mate who is an Edinburgh City loyal fan and says that he's been a standout for them in achieving a playoff this season. And finally, Sam Dalby for Dundee United, also on loan, because I will throw a biased choice in there. On loan from Wrexham. So, that's your shortlist. You don't need to stick to it, Matt. You can go out with that if you prefer, but who is your man?
Are there any players left? I mean, it's pretty much named every...
Leave me alone,
man. So my signing of the season is Robert Muirhead, otherwise known as Robbie Muirhead, if you're confused there. Robbie Muirhead The talisman for Livingston, the big mullet boy up front with the long legs and the powerful strike. He's led Livingston back to the Premier League, the Premiership, with 13 league goals and a couple in the playoffs. Obviously, he scored that goal in the second leg last week to put them ahead. He scored some absolute bangers, long-range free kicks. One against Ayr in the last minute, I'm sure. Can play across the front three. He suits the Livingston style with his sort of versatility and his strength and his speed and his power. Also, I think we briefly talked about him last week. He came through the youth system at Kilmarnock, moved to Hearts, Dundee United. And went down to England, came back up to Scotland in the lower leagues championship with Morton. And he did well with them. And obviously, as you say, Livingston losing their main striker and Bruce Anderson, they needed someone else to come in, and Muirhead brought that experience. He was a leader at Morton, and he came to Livingston again. He proved that he can lead from the front, delivered in crucial matches, scoring goals, assisting goals, free kicks, set pieces. I'm sure he's belts in the long throw as well, which is a good asset to have. And yeah, he's just a all-round beast. So what more can you say about that? A player that just all-round player for Livingston in the Championship. That's what you want. You want someone who's strong, you want someone who's tall, you want someone who's physical, but you want someone who can get the ball and play a bit. Because I know Livingston like to mix it up. He can do all those things. So
Do you think he can do it in the Prem when he comes
I
up?
think in that Livingston team he can, yeah. I think he's had a few seasons in the Championship with Morton and Livingston, and he can make the step up. I think with a good team around him, and Dave Martindale knows how to utilise these type of players.
So a few spells in the Premiership and didn't really set the world alight, didn't he? So it's one of those tests, but time will
I think
tell.
he's got at the right club, with the right manager. They'll utilise his strengths. They'll be buzzing. He'll still be high as a kite from this season. And I think you need confidence when you're an attacker, and that's what if you continue that into the season. Obviously, it'll be difficult, but I mean, there's a lot of teams you can score against in the Premiership. I think you'll get a good few goals, and I say you can play across the front three. So if you get another striker and a complement, and perhaps you can move him out wide, and he can come inside and power in from the flanks. But yeah, top class player. Did it in the playoff final. Livingston are up, and everyone's buzzing, I guess, if you're a Livingston fan.
Apart from you, by the sounds of things, you sound miserable about Robbie Muirhead. Where's the energy for him? I thought you're trying to persuade the other person here that he's your man.
Just going with facts, bro, which I had none of.
Just spitting straight facts.
Just vibes, mate. It's like dulcet tone. Nah, but there's no one else. Come on,
That's your man.
He's your man, Robbie Muirhead. He's your man.
If he doesn't win the award, he's got best Barnet of the year, I'm sure, for that mullet. But
inspired
Andrew.
a few mullets from the Livingston fan base we've seen in the celebrations.
Yeah, it's true. If you get a chance to rewatch the highlights from the game on the, I think, was it Sky Sports coverage? Yeah. At the end, there is. Yeah, and if you're listening, this is not slagging your mullet off at all, because it was fucking fantastic. What a mullet.
That's an old school American mullet. The boy going about the rodeo with his mullet, like cowboy boots. That was that was a real mullet.
Yes. Over to you, Andrew. Who's your nomination? Who's your man?
Well, we've differed again. Sam Dalby for me. Absolutely. I have to say, he's, in my opinion, pretty much dragged United to where they were this season, where they finished this season. Which is fourth, and that is a huge achievement for United. In my opinion, I think you're looking mid-table. You're looking at either breaking into the top six or just missing out. Maybe at the start of the season. In my opinion, obviously, Tom, you'd be best to probably confirm that from a United perspective. But you've got to remember, there's only 3 points between Dundee United and sixth place St Mirren. Only 3 points at the end of the season. United's goal difference was -9, Aberdeen's was sitting at -13. So, if you want to be very black and white about it, Sam Dalby's 15 goals, I think it was this season, has made a huge difference. Is he United's best ever striker? Absolutely not. No. But when you look at who is behind Dalby, this season in terms of supporting for goals, there's not a lot of good options there. I think Trapanovsky was second on 6, Ross Graham on 5 at third. So he's streaks ahead and their most reliable attacker by an absolute stretch. So without him, they wouldn't have. They definitely. I don't think they would have even got top 6. Just plain and simple. I don't think that would have happened. So, yeah, Sam Dalby for me. Personally, I think he's clinical enough to be playing at a higher level. I think that it'd be interesting to see what happens this summer. I don't know if anything has happened yet. But yeah, he's one that United would desperately want to be renewing. To be fair, pretty much all of the nominees, every single team is going to want to be hanging on to all those players. It's good to see a wee reference for Innes Lawson there as well. But yeah, for me, it's Dalby, just because of how much it means to Dundee United, how much financially it means, how much it means for their summer window and the players that they can attract, how much he is streaks ahead of anyone else in that team, in my opinion, and probably this might be slightly harsh, but he's probably the only player in that team that I could see playing at a higher level immediately. There's maybe some players that down the line, are capable of taking a step up, but right now he's the only one that's an absolute standout. Personally, as a Rangers fan, I would have taken him at Ibrox, because he's very clinical, and I think the service he would get at a higher level, I think he's actually ready to step up to that. I'm not surprised Wrexham have not really entertained taking him back, because the type of club they are and the sort of commercial ambitions they have. It'll be interesting to see who they're going for. I mean, I think they were linked with Jamie Vardy at some point. But so it's quite a difference from Sam. But yeah, for me, he's single-handedly dragged United to fourth place. In my opinion, United, if they had a regular striker like they had, a Nicky Clark or a Stephen Fletcher or, someone like that they've had over the last, 5 years, I just don't think that they would have managed to stay in the top 6.
A very good point, well made. Matthew, what do you think to that?
I mean, he had a brilliant season, there's no denying. I mean, it's his best goal scoring season. And his ratio of goals to games, 35 games, 15 goals. I was just looking at his history. I mean, his best season before that in professional football and senior football was 9 and 43 for Southend. Wow. And he hardly did much for Wrexham last season. He got 1 goal in 31 games for Wrexham. So for Jim Goodwin to, find this guy and put faith in this guy to lead the line for United, I mean, it's a pretty...
That's
remarkable
wild.
Season. It is wild. I know the season before that he scored 6 and 42. Last season 1 and 31 for Wrexham. So the season's just finished with Dundee United. Obviously, he got 15 and 35. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's hardly like he was a prolific goal scorer in lower leagues in England or the National League in England. So for him to come to Scotland, I don't know if that means our league is weak or easier, I don't know, to score goals.
I don't know. I mean, I think at that level, if you're looking at Southend, for example, I don't think that there would be much of an argument there that there's it's way easier up here or anything like that. I really don't think that's the case. I do think it's more competitive. But interesting numbers there. I didn't realise that. But from a United fan's perspective, Tom, when you heard that you were signing Dalby on loan.
Yeah, was it who?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Was it a bit like that? Yeah, or did you think, or was there a bit of, well, I've looked at his numbers and they're absolutely atrocious. Like, why are we taking this Diddy on, basically?
I think given Goodwin's record at United and his when he's been bringing in players, I've not ever needed to worry about it. I don't think that when you see his numbers down south, you don't think he's still very, very young. So I don't think he's you need to worry about the stats that you read before you watch him. But yeah, it was a bit like who no one had really heard of him, but instantly made himself a fan's favourite. He got off to a flying start. His second half of the season he sort of tailed off a wee bit, but yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. It's what I've said to my brother quite a few times, is without him we are bottom half, not relegation fodder. I don't think we had more defensively than being in a scrap for relegation, but we're not breaking the top six without his goals, and we've lacked a goal scorer like that for so long. We've not had one forward to hang your hat on getting a goal every other game, and we had that last season. And I get your point around without him we would be further down, so that's why you're kind of nominating him, one of the reasons. But I'd say the same for Muirhead with Livy, in a way that when they signed Stevie May on loan at the start of the season and Robbie Muirhead, a lot of people were way more excited about Stevie May playing in the Championship and the goals he was going to bring. Robbie Muirhead showed him up, and they've combined much more than what Dalby's combined with anyone else at United. He's been the sort of standout, but I would say, and Muirhead's dragged them to those playoffs and through the playoffs, scoring the goals that he did. So that's one way of looking at it. But you two need to convince each other, I think.
Just on United, what happened with Louis Moult? Obviously, he got 18 goals last season in the Championship. He was the captain, was he not? When they won the league. So, what is he just not got the legs for the Premier League?
He got 20 goals, did he not, last season? Yeah.
Is he just not got the legs, and Dalby's just more physical, more up for the battle?
It's probably the same you could say about Stevie May as well. In a way, he's being respectful. His best days are probably behind him. I don't know what age he's at now, but it's kind of quite a similar situation in that sense, I guess.
Yeah, Louis Moult's had injuries for a long time, and for example, he just never plays on a plastic pitch because of his knees. So that's part of the reason you need a striker to be playing to get in a good run of form, goal scoring form, playing week in week out, and Dalby can do that. I think they've interchanged well, and unsung hero for us, Jort van der Sand didn't score a single goal in the entire season as a striker, but was crucial in some of those games. His link-up play, his hold-up play. Anyway, we're not discussing him. He's not a nominee, but we had some good options up top, and they all provided something a little bit different, I think, as well. Dalby's an aerial threat, Louis Moult less, so he's more of a poacher, sort of 18-yard box finisher. So
I think Dalby's just built for the league. I think that's it. I think he's built for the SPFL. He's physical enough, and that's only going to get better with age. But yeah, he's just I don't know, something quite old school about him. I just like him. It's like a bit of an old school striker for me.
Big sort of tall, stiff looking guy.
Yeah, just like kind of a
clean shaven,
a more athletic, Boydie kind of situation. He's reliable. If he's in the area, the chances are he's going to slot it away. Just quite a traditional striker. So yeah, I like him, but at the same time, I've got to say, compelling argument for Muirhead. So I'm on the fence a wee bit here.
Are we at a stalemate?
I've been swayed, I think, by our discussions on Mr. Samuel Dolby. I like the look of this guy.
I can hear the keys on you're just scrolling through photos of the man now.
Like I said, this guy's tall.
Doing some speedos.
Yeah, he's tall. He's just looks like a nice gentleman. So I think I bet he's very polite. I bet he says please and thank you to the dinner ladies in the club, and he's takes his plate and scrapes it all in the bin. And I bet he's the kind of guy. He's very polite.
Are we allowed a loan signing to be signing of the season? Is that? I mean,
I
we
don't
are
see why
Tinpot,
not.
so
I mean,
maybe.
they've had an influence on the season. They've had an influence on a team. And they're still a crucial part of the team. So it's a smart bit of business. Really
It
smart
is.
bit of business. If you can make that permanent, it's an incredible bit of business.
Let's
In
just
my
put Goodwin
opinion.
as manager this season as well. Now after that,
All
get
right,
back.
you just keep wanting to stick it to Falkirk.
Sorry,
Like
John.
that's it.
Sorry, John. I've been convinced by A. Sam Dolby, B. Jim Goodwin. This is just an unbelievable partnership.
Right.
Wonder-
Okay. It's been decided by you two. Matt, you've been swayed onto Andrew's side, and best signing for 2024-25 goes to Sam Dolby of Dundee United. And that wasn't me that decided that. As the Arab on the pod, that was the other two boys. So, congratulations, Sam. Moving on now to what should really be more of a visual round where we watch these goals, but we're just going to have to try and describe them from memory. And the shortlist is as follows, and it is a shorter one this time. Jack Iredale's goal against Hearts, the volley late in the game to win the derby at Easter Road. We've got Kevin Nisbet's volley, chested down, one touch to beat Hibs late in the game. That was the first game, I think, after the split as well, when they were both vying for third spot. Louis Moult versus St Mirren, another United nomination. His overhead kick in the last 2 minutes to beat St Mirren 1-0. And finally, Dajon Golding versus Stranraer for Elgin. A mazy run. If you've not watched this, I urge you to go and find it on YouTube. Mazy run from outside his own box. Beat 3 players, and that was to go 2-0 up when they were chasing a playoff. And there's a few things to think about when you're discussing goal of the season. Some people prefer a long-range strike. Some people prefer a technical goal, a volley. Some people like a mazy run, as I've just described. Also, context of the game. If it was a meaningless 1-0 game at the end of the season where your league position's already decided, that's less important than, say, a derby win in the last minute. So all these things are to be considered. And we're going to go to Matt, I think this time. Is it first? Or is it Andrew? Andrew first.
It's
Goal
me
of the
this
season.
time. Me this time. I've got to say the goal in the Elgin game was unreal. Absolutely unreal. And yeah, I would say that's a very close second for me. First for me is Hamza Egaman against Celtic. Not within the nominees, but you said we could vote out with that. I just think that the determination, the skill, to get the ball down, beat the defenders, the finish against, a goalkeeper that, everyone seems to get a little bit too carried away with.
19 clean sheets in 30 league games, mate.
Nah, he's done. He's a class keeper. Which does make it even better. It's a crucial goal at a crucial time. Obviously, I know we've got a derby nomination in there, as it is, but it's just the quality of the goal, the build up. How much he's had to do single handedly in that situation. It's an absolute cauldron. They're Celtic Park, and he's silenced the crowd. Celtic were gaining a little bit of momentum at the time. Rangers teams gone by would not have scored that crucial goal. And to see someone who, in my opinion, has developed incredibly well over the course of the season, but quickly. I think he matured. Over a few games. I think he's a real star for the future. One really to look out for. I'm excited every time he gets on the ball, and there's a real sense of belief. That anything can happen. So for me, it's that goal, but I must admit I am tremendously biased. So I think the goal in the Elgin game for me, if Matthew doesn't go for that, then I don't think I can be swayed. But But if he does, I think, fair enough. It's a stunning goal at that level as well. Unbelievable. But I'll stick with my man, Eagle Man, for just now.
Andrew, come on, you can't have a goal this season where the ball's being booted from like the goalkeeper. Some Celtic boy misses the header, then some other boy goes to tackle him, just falls over, and then he scuffs his shot into the corner. Come on, scuffs it into the corner.
No, not at all. It's not a scuff into the corner whatsoever. It's a beautiful finish, and he's done the defenders, and his position is absolutely top class there. And when the ball does come down, and the defender doesn't take control of the situation, he stays cool. He controls that incredibly well, and under really, really difficult circumstances. Just as a Rangers fan, that is the kind of opportunity that you will see go about 25 fucking yards over the bar. It's just at that point in the game at Celtic Park, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So for me, it was a huge goal, a huge kind of turning point, I guess, in the sort of history of what's been pretty poor, away from home in the Old Firm derby. So yeah, it's not a scuff into the top corner. It's an absolute class finish.
Seconds out, round 2, ding ding. Bloody.
You'll always have that
Rangers,
moment, I guess, right, for your season. We scored a goal at Celtic Park Cup. Well done.
Right, Matthew, what's your nomination?
Okay, I'm not going to pick the boys' goal for Elgin. That was a pretty good goal, but again, the defenders are all about 20 stone, so it's not difficult to score.
We starting beef with Stranraer now as well.
Clearly that boy's a bit better than others, I'd imagine, but I mean, that's a nice goal. I'm going to go for Kevin Nisbet against Hibs. Just sheer, if you're looking at a volley, that's just sheer class. To score with the technical skill like that, the precision, the sort of technique was such an unexpected shot. It was just came out of nowhere, boom. 80th minute of the game. And this is when they're challenging for a third at the time, pushing hard against his former club as well. And it was just a great goal. It's a volley I've not seen like before, just sublime from Nisbet. I mean, the quality player. He was riding a high when he was at the Rovers. He went to Dunfermline, he went to Hibs. He was at the Rovers, ex-Rovers player.
Brings it back to the Rovers again.
I'm just saying he was on one of those runs that a striker gets on, where they score a lot of goals for a club, they move up to a higher league, they score a goal for that club, they move to another higher league. So he went to Hibs, then he went to Millwall, and then he got a terrible injury and he was out for a long time, and he struggled to obviously get back to the high levels that he'd set for himself in the past, and he just showed his absolute quality with a goal like that. I mean, he was in the Scotland squad before his injury. He scored against the Netherlands, is that right, Tom?
Yes, that's correct.
Was it like an equaliser? Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah,
he was flying high. He was still relatively young before his injury. He's still young enough now. The guy's clearly got the skill. He's got the technique.
Yeah, there's definitely a player in there, isn't there? It's just it's a shame to see him.
Injury. Yeah, you just hope an injury like that doesn't affect him. That he can just get that sharpness that he had before, and he can get on a run, because that's what goal scoring is all about. That's what being a striker is all about. It's getting on that streak, getting that confidence up. I don't know what's going to happen to him next season. Obviously, he's going back to Millwall. I'd imagine they'll demand, a fee for him, 6 figures. You'd imagine. I mean, they did pay a few million for him from Hibs, so
7 figures, mate.
7 figures, 7 figures. Yeah, there you go. 6 figures plus 1. But it was a great goal.
It was a great goal.
Aberdeen didn't quite get third, but he played a decent role in the final as well. He stuck to the tactical plan. He ran around a lot, I guess, up front. But he's also Scottish. We want our Scottish strikers to do well.
And slagging off the Moroccans now, is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I've just said
to
Elgin
to Stranraer. Yeah,
to see a Scottish striker banging in a goal like that. I mean, that's Marco van Basten type.
Is Golding not?
I think he's English, mate.
Is he? All right.
Don't want to slag off.
Desperately,
the
searching
English.
on Wikipedia, trying to prove he's right, and then begging me
He's
to
got
cut it out.
English granny.
I'm getting the search bar. I'm going to search this boy. Like, what's his name? Golding.
He didn't even care. He didn't care.
Dajon Golding, I don't know.
There you go, Dajon Golding. Right, on this boy's career, he was at Lewis, then he went to Worthing, then he played at a team called Chess Hunt. He was at Cray Wanderers. And
This doesn't mean anything.
He played 2 games for
This
Cove.
doesn't fight a case to say he didn't score a good goal.
No, he is English. But no, to be fair, he scored 8 in 6 games for Worthing about 6 years ago. So clearly this boy's cut above the rest. But no, it was a good goal.
Just making enemies left, right, and centre.
But clearly it was a one of a kind goal that you only score once a season for that boy.
But you've not chosen it. You've gone for Nisbet instead. So Andrew did say that if you weren't going to choose the Golding goal, that he couldn't be persuaded otherwise. So you're sticking with Eagleman, is that right, Andrew? You're not persuaded by Nisbet?
Do you know what? I'm just going to throw a right spanner in the works here. I'm going with Golding. I haven't built a case for it, but I don't think I need to. It was.
You just want to talk about the Eagleman goal.
It's unbelievable. Like that. The more I think about it, I started to have my regrets at the end of the Eagleman chat because that goal was so good. But talking about Nisbet, get a grip, mate. It was a good goal, but I mean, it's not it's not as holy shit as Golding's goal. That was unbelievable. That was every single person in that stadium, albeit there wouldn't be a lot of people there. Yeah. There he goes again. But they would have been absolutely off their seats, and it's one of those moments that actually went viral. That's the thing. Nisbet's goal's not going viral. That's it. But I mean, nothing I can disagree with it. Great goal. He scored a good goal, and he's a good striker. I was really, when he was on a good run of form, I did think he was going to maybe sign for one of the old firm. He was just on a really good upwards trajectory, and it's a shame things haven't gone right for him with injuries and stuff. But Golding, yeah, I'm changing my mind to Golding. Viral moment.
Oh,
I don't think you'll see anything like that.
I'm watching it now, man. The ball was bobbling about as high as his knee.
Of course it was, because
that makes it harder.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And the boy's rep took his top off. He's an absolute beast.
Yeah, he's got some physique as well. He's unbelievable. So are you telling me you've not seen that goal before right now?
No, I've seen the goal. I just don't want to vote for it because I'm not going to follow everyone else's, the sheep.
The sheep.
The sheep. You voted for a sheep goal.
Exactly.
The ex-Rovers, mate. Yeah,
welcome at Butterbricks.
Let's see the boys trying to tackle him. You've got
some by
somebody,
the ex-Rovers. That's what it's. That's
some
that's
boy
what
towing
this
a
is about.
cart. He skins that boy. Oh, he's got about 3 people. Come on, that's not that many.
I'm going to need to push you. Are either of you going for the other one's goal?
Nah.
I'm going to vote for Hamza Eagleman. Let's just give it to Goldie. Come on, the Elgin.
You're being persuaded. Yeah, if it came down to my vote, I would have given it to Mr. Golden. So well done to Dajon. I'll be up to Boroughbriggs to deliver your trophy when you're back for pre-season. Right, finally, on to our most prestigious award of the evening, or the morning if you listen to this in the morning. It's the Tinpot Moment of the season. And a few nominees here, and a lot of them follow a similar sort of trend. But we'll start off with Hamilton Accies, points deduction, the Broadwoods debacle, 500 grand apparently owed, fans breaking into the boardroom because they're raging at Jerry Strain. Dumbarton, investigation into fraud around missing funds from the land deal, another points deduction, also relegation, fans having to raise that money to pay wages, among other things. Bonnyrigg Rose, the tilted pitch that got them relegated, 100 grand raised by fans that they've not yet spent to fix the pitch, and those points did mean they sadly got relegated in the playoff against East Kilbride. And finally, Tinpot's final nomination is Rangers losing against Queen's Park. Those are your shortlisted nominations. Matthew, over to you. What is your Tinpot moment of the season?
Well, obviously Rangers losing to Queen's Park was very funny. So we all enjoyed that moment. But no, I'm going for a moment that's out with the short list. I'm going
Ooh.
for Heart of Midlothian 2, Petro Cub 2 in the Conference League. Now, when I first saw the name of that club, I was thinking Petro Club, and I thought Petrofac Training Cup, the old name for the Challenge Cup. If you don't remember that, if you're not familiar with the Challenge Cup, Andrew, I think you remember the Challenge Cup when
Yes,
beat
I
Rangers
do.
in the cup final, and
Do.
yeah, I think it might have been called the Petrofac
Well
Training Cup
deserved.
then. I mean, this team Petro Cub, I mean, I'm going to go in hard on Petro Cub because I'm pretty confident we're not going to have any listeners in Moldova. Like I'm gonna stick my neck out.
I'm gonna be putting so many hashtags on this, like hashtag
Like Moldova.
Petrocub, like hashtag Moldova.
Let's just go through this team, Petro Cub. Right, they've got the Moldovan champions. Congratulations to them. Well done. Their stadium holds 1,100 people. Arbroath have had a higher average attendance this season than Petro Cub. They finished bottom of the Conference League, scoring 4 goals, 2 of which came against Hearts in that 2-all draw. So they scored 2 goals in their 5 games. So all Hearts had to do was beat this bunch of diddies to qualify for the top 24 places, 26 places, whatever the top 24 teams, to get into the playoffs to play European football after Christmas for the first time in 35 years. Could they do it? Could they beat this team? The answer, I think we all know that, no. A 2-all draw. Knocked out of Europe in the most embarrassing way. Just summed up their shambles of a season so far. They'd come third the season before. Everyone was pretty buzzing. Naismith sacked. They bring in Neil Critchley, which was an absolute disaster of an appointment. A complete... Just... You talk about managerial appointments... Like this was just bizarre. The boy was sacked with like QPR after 12 games, went to Blackpool. I mean, he did fine at Blackpool in his first spell, went back in second spell, he was sacked. So you're talking the boy who's sacked by Blackpool, you're going to come in and be the manager of Hearts? I mean, I don't think so. Sorry, Blackpool, mate. He spent too much of his time on the old the Pepsi Max or whatever they have at the old pleasure beach. What's it called? The big massive roller coasters, the Pepsi Max or something.
I think so,
Whatever. He was spending too much time at the
Big Dipper.
pleasure, the Big Dipper, whatever. He spent too much time at the pleasure beach and he did coaching the team clearly because he was sacked by Blackpool in League One, and he comes to manage Hearts. I mean, glorious Hearts. And couldn't get a tune out of Shankland, who was also struggling under Naismith. He couldn't recapture the form of the season before. He just struggled to get goals at him. Played him at 10. Didn't work, and this was his chance. Lost big games against Hibs, but this was the icing on the tin pot pie, so to speak, as the old saying goes. It's an embarrassing result. It was embarrassing for Hearts. It was embarrassing for Scottish football. It's pretty pathetic from their point of view. The fans obviously raging, booing them off at half time, booing them off at full time, chasing them out the car park. I don't know, chasing them on Gorgie Road. But yeah, it was an embarrassment. I mean,
So just so I can understand what you're nominating here, is it just the 2-2 game? Is it Neil Critchley? Is it Hearts in general this season? What's your nomination?
Well, it started with the appointment of Critchley, which was bizarre. It went on to being pish for the rest of the season, but the
You've
main...
been very politician-y here. Come on, I mean, I just asked you a straight-up question.
Yeah,
What's the
biggest
answer?
Tinpot Moment. Drawing with Petrofac Training Cup 2-all in the Conference League, where all you needed to do was win to get in the top 24 of this competition, and you embarrassed the whole Scottish football. We thought these European results were behind us, Rangers losing to that team and the boys in the bush, that sort of thing. That was a lot,
Boys in the bush.
I can't even remember their name now. So
Pedro
Some
Good
good Rangers
Casilla
defeats.
was he in the bush? I don't know.
They had a really funny name as well.
Pedro, was it Casilla? Was that his name?
Cashinha was
the
in
bush.
Cashinha was in the bush shouting at the fans. It was absolutely hilarious. But they had a funny name. I think it began with a P as well. But Yeah.
I thought those days were behind us.
Progress
these results.
Niederkorn, that was who it was.
Progress Niederkorn. I mean, come on. These results are just a shame on Scottish football. You know, ringing the bell. Shame. It was embarrassing, and yeah, there you go. That's my Tinpot moment of the season. Hearts, sort it out. Let's hope Dundee United don't embarrass us this year in the Conference League. Maybe after was it 2 years ago? You got battered. Was it 6-0? Something like that by Alkmaar. Is that right? And you got relegated.
Was it
That's
not
not as bad
7?
as that. 7-0.
Could be 8. Could be 12. Yeah. Your moment for this season is the 2-2 draw against Petro Cub.
Petro Cub. Come at me, Petro Cub fans. I'll take it.
Andrew, can you one up that? What is your Tinpot moment of the season?
Well, I would say that got quite deep. You know, that went much more. That went much deeper than the 2-2 draw. I think. You know, that was just an attack on Hearts. I think so. You know, if we want to look at bad managerial appointments, you know, then I think Neil Collins is probably the highlight of the season there. But absolutely insane getting rid of Ian Murray and then appointing him for as a part-timer, and then bringing in Barry Robson, who's done a fantastic job. So anyway, but yeah, moving into the most sort of Tinpot moment, if you like, you know, result, whatever it might be as well. I think Tam, you've been really harsh with your shortlist. You know, I think that, you know, Bonnyrigg, Dumbarton, Hamilton, you know, all these clubs, you know, it's bloody hard to run a club of that size, and it's very difficult to meet regulations all the time and keep the clubs afloat. So, yeah, I think you need a wee slap on the wrist there, mate. That's not it's not good. But yeah, it's a shame. In all seriousness, like, it is a shame. It seems every season there's some club, you know, having a problem, or usually clubs, you know, having a problem in the leagues, and it just shows that how hard it is to actually run these clubs properly. And you know, a lot of them are, especially clubs like Bonnyrigg and Dumbarton, you know, they're run by volunteers, you know, so it's really difficult to keep up with the ever changing regulations and just keeping the clubs going financially, you know, allowing there to be a budget for players, etc., etc. So hopefully next season it's not nearly as bad. But I mean, yeah, those three and Inverness as well. I mean, Inverness kind of walked into it a wee bit themselves, but it's a shame to see that, you know, definitely. But for me, I have to go Rangers losing to Queen's Park. You know, I think that result was absolutely diabolical. It was just, I mean, you know, it's banded as the worst result in Rangers history. Obviously, we've had some dodgy results over the years, but not with a team of that value and of that, you know, quality. So yeah, to lose to Queen's Park in the manner that we did, I mean, to me it was convincing. You know, it was not even it could have been worse. You know, like, it could have been much worse. So yeah, I mean, that gets my vote. But I like Matthew's left field selection there, I have to say. So
I've got a question about just going back to the Bonnyrigg thing. Was their pitch always squint? Was it just just suddenly get squint this season?
It's always been like that.
So they changed the rules, so then to say that it has to be less squint, and they couldn't also make it less.
No comment. But yeah, ultimately, you know,
that's Scottish football, man. They're in League Two. Why can't their pitch have a bit of a slope? I mean, Jesus Christ, who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a classic thing. We'll play uphill first half or whatever, downhill second half. You know.
I think the thing is, it's just, you know, you've got to be able to sensibly fund these things. You know, is where I would sort of put my opinion. And yeah, I mean, Tom mentioned it on both Bonnyrigg and Dumbarton. You know, they've had to do huge fundraisers. You know, the fans have had to put money in to go and get them out of a hole. You know, and
yeah, I know about that.
The Dumbarton one was was definitely one that, as far as I understand, was just, it was one of these things that could easily have not happened. It was a payment that if everything had went as projected, that perhaps they wouldn't have been in that situation. But just shows you how fragile all of these clubs are. But I'm telling you that there's more clubs than there isn't. Within the Championship, the League One and League Two, that are just as fragile, for different reasons, but they are just as fragile. So
Yeah,
for
Tom,
me,
take a look at yourself, son.
yeah,
Putting them on the list, they should be ashamed.
Absolute disgrace, mate. But I think it's quite obviously it's meant to be a joke, but it's just to say it's you need to maybe grow up a wee bit, mate. Like it's.
Yeah.
And just,
look, whatever I say now,
yourself,
it's going to look like I'm backtracking.
Put some money in Dumbarton and Bonnie Rig Rose, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get your bloody hand in your pocket, mate.
It's going to look like I'm backtracking, and maybe I am. But none of this is to laugh at the fans of these clubs or the volunteers of these clubs that have put in that hard work. It's not to do with that. It's more self-deprecating, looking at us as fans of the Scottish game and at the Scottish game, saying it's a bit especially what happened at Aki's. Now that one I'm not feeling as quite as bad.
Honestly,
about, to be fair. But it's just the fact that all that's happened in one season is why I think it was worthy of a mention.
Is it going to be
time,
just on Aki's, Tom? Is it going to be next season Clyde playing at Hamilton Stadium and Hamilton playing at Clyde Stadium? Is that
looks like it? Yeah,
he's going now. That is.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's
Tinpot.
That's bloody Tinpot.
That is,
yeah.
It's not. I know I was throwing you under the bus there, kind of on purpose, but
no, I'll take it.
But no, it's it's a shame to see. Hopefully, it doesn't carry on that way, but I'm sure it will. Just need to spread the money a wee bit more, I think, and stop wee clubs from getting in these holes, I think. But
get some of that Yankee dollar to the lower league. Yeah,
it's in all seriousness, like that's it. It has to be more evenly distributed. I mean, Celtic and Rangers are healthy, commercially. Like they can actually, they have a global presence. They have areas that they can capitalise on. And I'm not throwing them under the bus either, because as far as I understand, there's probably a willingness there, or has been, to make changes to compensate for others within the league. And it was really refreshing. I know it's not a Rangers podcast, but it was really refreshing to see that, there was a reference to the rest of the Scottish leagues when the new leaders came in. So. I think there needs to be more of a sense of community on these things, like definitely, because as I said, there's so many clubs that are just as fragile. So I don't want to see people getting docked points next season. It makes the leagues kind of shit. When that happens, I mean, it's obviously it benefits somebody, but it's just a shame.
Sport integrity, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it'd be rubbish to see Hamilton go away.
Nicey.
Yeah, fuck Hearts and Volker, come on.
We're going to need a winner. So it sounds, I mean, I don't know about you, Andrew. I was pretty convinced by Matt's compelling argument.
Yeah,
about
same here. I thought it was a great choice. Really good choice. Definitely. I think that was, that's the winner for me, I think.
Tinpot Moment of the 2024-25 SPFL season is Heart of Midlothian 2, Petricub Hitchesty, I think they're called, 2, which knocked them out of the Conference League. So
Tom,
congratulations.
what's the capital of Moldova, mate? What's the capital of Moldova? Go.
Chisinau, I think, is it not?
Is it actual?
I think so, Chisinau.
Colours are flag.
Yellow, blue and red, with a little emblem in the middle. Very similar to Andorra's flag.
Nice, mate.
So don't get them confused.
That's what this stuff.
That concludes the awards. So congratulations to our winners. John McGlynn, Sam Dalby, Dajon Golding, and Petricub, I think, are really the winners of the Tinpot Moment.
Did we get points for that? Because I mean, technically, I won that. So
Andrew, the
Surely
quiz
that-
is coming up, mate.
That
for you.
contributes to the
Yeah.
quiz, surely, later on, no?
He's begging for quiz points because he knows he's not going to get anybody at the quiz.
That was
You
a
got-
3-1 win.
Yeah, it was.
That's not the real quiz, mate.
No,
That's
it is the real quiz.
That's the real quiz.
Dolby. Yeah, 3-1.
In a world where sponsorship is more accessible than ever, that world exists at sportsponsorship.co.uk. Whether you're interested in making a difference to your local community or further afield, or perhaps you're looking for access to tens of thousands of followers online to push your brand further than ever, get in touch with sportsponsorship.co.uk. That's sportsponsorship.co.uk.
Yeah.
I think
Quiz
we both-
time!
No, we both agreed on Dujon Golding, mate. You said some nonsense.
Yeah,
Man.
no, that's fair. I'll
We'll
still
call it-
beat you
we'll call it
2-1 then, but, you know.
We'll
Call
call
it
it
quits, mate. It's fine. It's fine.
The real winner here is John
Football.
Golding for 8 mentions of his name in one podcast. The scores after round 1 of the quiz are 6-0 to Matthew. He got 2 home questions correct, 3 points for each last week. I'm going to give you the same as last week, home or away. 6 points for guessing the away question within one guess, within one clue, sorry. 4 points if you use 2 clues, 2 points if you use 3 clues, and you just half your points if you go home. Nice and simple. All related to Scottish football. There's going to be a player, just in case this is your first time listening or watching this quiz. So, last week we started with Andrew. We're going to start with Matt this week. Matt, are you going home or away?
Well, I've got a fairly healthy lead, so I can afford to go away. Please test my knowledge.
Oh, he's going away. Okay, Clue number 1. A defender with 4 caps and 1 goal for Scotland between 2008 and 2010.
Say that again. Sorry, I'm going to write it down.
It's a Scottish defender, 4 caps and 1 goal for Scotland between 2008 and 2010.
4 caps, 1 goal. 2008
Um,
to 2010.
Okay, nothing. No one's leaping out at me to begin with. I'll need the second clue, please, Tom.
Are you certain you want to go for a second clue?
How much points do I get on the second clue, sorry?
You get 4 points if you get it after second clue.
Yeah, second clue, mate.
Second clue?
That's pretty good.
He played for the following clubs: St Mirren, Blackpool, Rotherham, and Cali. Inverness, Cali, this one.
In that order?
No, just
Oh.
at any point in his career.
Can you please repeat the clubs?
Oh, for goodness sake. Blackpool,
Blackpool.
St Mirren, Rotherham, and Cali.
And his caps were between 2008 and 2010. Who's the manager
Yes.
then, Tom?
I'm not giving you any more clues.
Oh, come on. Between 2008 and 2010, we're talking George Burley, is it? Surely Burley would call some Diddy from like fucking Rotherham or Blackpool. I mean, that was the depths, man. Right, next clue. Next clue, please.
Next clue for
Yeah,
2
next
points
clue.
if you get it
Yeah,
after
please.
this third clue.
Mm-hmm.
Aged 40, signed for Kelty Hearts in January of this year, and publicly said he did that to try and reach 700 appearances.
How would I not know this answer? Aged 40. And did he play many games for Kelty?
I'm not telling you any more clues. You keep doing this. You keep trying to get more out of me. Andrew's
He
nodding
knows
his
the
head
answer,
there. Looks
yeah.
like he knows the answer, so it could get 2 points for him if
So
he
you
passes
rocked
across.
up at Kelty to try and get 700 games. I've never heard of this boy. What the... Okay, is there one more clue?
Nope,
That's
that's
it.
all your clues.
Okay,
It's 2 points or bust.
Kelty to play 700 games. Blackpool, Rotherham, St Mirren, and Inverness. And he's a defender. 4 caps for Scotland between 08 and 10. Scored a goal, unbelievably. This guy. I'm going to go for pass.
A pass? Not even going to try and take a punt?
I honestly can't think of. This is an obscure one, but the fact he's played 700 games, and
it will move across then if you've passed.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Andrew, do you want to take a go for 2 points?
It's Kirk Broadfoot.
It is correct. 2 points.
I know that because I go to Kelty every second week. But
you missed that he played for Rangers, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's what threw me. But then it was only really the last clue that
that's
I
cheating,
got
no?
It's an away question, mate. It's supposed to be tricky.
I didn't know he played for Cali Thistle, actually. I knew he played for St Mirren.
And Morton, he played for Morton like the season before last, I'm sure. I remember him falling over at Starks Park once.
No bonus points here, but do you remember who he scored his only goal for Scotland against?
No.
Iceland, maybe?
Yes, Iceland, away.
Oh, bonus point.
No, I did say no bonus points and a 2-1 win.
And you didn't give me a bonus point.
So the scores at the end of that round are 6-2 to Matthew, and Andrew has a shot in hand. Are you going to go home or away, Mr. Guild?
Judging by how difficult that was, I'm going to definitely go home. So, yeah.
Going home. Try and claw some points back. Okay. Yeah. Your clue number 1 is it's a striker. Okay. A Welsh striker with 78 caps and 19 goals.
78 caps, did you say?
Yeah, 78 caps, 19 goals. Welsh striker.
Goals. Welsh striker. First striker that comes to mind. 19 goals for Wales.
Yes, 78 caps, 19 goals for Wales.
Well, first guy that comes to mind is John Hartson, but I would have thought he would have actually scored more goals for Wales over his time. I'm trying to think of any other Welsh strikers. There's got to be more Welsh strikers than 78 caps. So 78 caps would line up with John Hartson.
You said that about Matt O'Reilly with 66 caps, and I believe he's only had 2.
No, I said no. I said that's the only thing that doesn't line up. But I had a brain freeze and couldn't think of anyone else from Denmark.
So you get for throwing me under the bus with Bonnyrigg fans.
Not just Bonnyrigg fans, Dumbarton fans and Hamilton fans as well. It's the goals thing that's getting me, because I would have expected John Hartson to have scored more goals for Wales, because he was obviously prolific at Celtic. There's got to be more Welsh strikers that have played in Scotland. There has to be. I'm struggling though. I'm really struggling. I can think of a couple of Welsh players, Matondo, Lawrence, obviously nowhere near those kind of caps at all.
You could always go for a second clue. You don't need to stab on the first one. If you're listening on Spotify, this is Tinpot, Scottish football podcast.
It is very Tinpot, this. So how many points would I get if I go through to the next clue then?
You get 2 points if you get it on the next clue.
Right, okay.
Take the 2 points, man, come on.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to, yeah. Sorry,
okay.
I'm just think he scored more goals than that.
Second clue is he won the Scottish Cup with Celtic in 2005.
Oh, for bloody hell's sake. Well, he was at Celtic then. I can't think of any other strikers that were Welsh at that time. It's John Hartson then. Has to be John Hartson.
Final answer?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's wrong.
Oh, what the...
This wasn't designed to be a trick question, but it is wrong. It does sound like it could be John Hartson, but it's not, sadly.
Celtic.
Goes over to Matthew for stealing 2 points back to bridge the gap that he just lost.
Who the hell is that?
I think I know the answer,
Oh, well, that's okay then.
but I would like to go to the final clue just to be sure, because I'd like to hear the final clue, see if Andrew can get it as well.
Final clue is he is currently the national team manager of his country.
Oh, cook a cat.
Is the diminutive Craig Bellamy.
That
Wait, he
is
only scored 19
correct.
goals for Wales.
19 goals for Wales, mate, yeah. And gets Matthew a point. Which makes the scores 7-2 at the end of week 2's quiz. Slightly bridged the gap.
I forgot about Bellamy, plain and simple, but I would have expected him to score more goals for Wales. He was one of the main men, eh? So
Yeah, he was.
Him and Robert
Him and
Earnshaw.
Yeah, Hartson
Yeah.
at the time when they had, obviously Giggs was playing when they were quite good, they almost qualified back in the day, beat Italy, I'm sure.
they must have shared
Yeah,
out
really-
the goals a wee bit then. Like I would imagine Hartson's on maybe similar goals then, and I mean, I don't know
I guess
what
that's not
Giggs
a
would
bad
have been
record,
doing.
man. So, 80
No,
games,
no.
20 goals. They probably played. Obviously, they had not as good a team then as they do now.
Mm.
But yeah,
John
no.
Hartson's
Done.
record for Wales was 51 appearances, 14 goals. So
I mean,
Oh,
Bellamy
that's
played
pretty
for
close,
so
eh?
long as well. Bellamy played a long time in top flight in England, so it's hard at
14 goals for
international level. You know, it's
19
hard.
goals. God, that
Bellamy.
was a hard one, to be fair, for an easy. Like that was well.
Yeah, a lone player who played 6 months at Celtic, mate. Come on, that's an away question.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. That was a John. That was like masked for John Hartson the whole way through.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
wasn't
tricky this game.
done intentionally, but
I
mean,
think this is rigged, mate. Like this is an absolute joke. Absolute
It's-
joke.
the speed of the quiz in last week, it was too easy, and now it's too hard for you. I tell you.
When did Bellamy? Was Bellamy even there a whole season?
No, he was on loan for 6 months, mate.
Fucking hell! Come on, like fuck me. Like that's ridiculous. How am I meant to fuck? Come on. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Fucking 6 months. 6 months.
The only reason it came to my mind when I was writing the question is because I was at the game in the cup final. I don't know why I thought of it.
Who did
Fuck
they
yeah.
play?
He's a big
Hell.
name. He's one of the biggest names to have
Yeah, I
played
know he's a
in,
big
in the
name,
league.
but I mean,
Didn't Dion Dublin play on loan for Celtic as well?
yeah.
And like Cotton Cole,
Ian Wright was
Yeah.
there for a bit.
Ian Wright was there for a bit.
Canio, big names.
Great.
Oh,
Well, that's good.
I mean, now you've just made me want to rig it for you every week.
Yeah, like next
That's
week it's
true.
going to be like, who's the best player from Sweden that's ever been here of all time, and then you're going to bring out some fucking vagina that's like been like 6 months at Dundee or something. Like,
John
I don't know,
Guidetti.
technically. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you do.
A Swede that's
Oh.
played for Celtic, yeah. Kika Lustig. There's quite a few. Johan
There
Mjalby.
is actually quite a few, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not the point. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just
Anyway,
have to win against the establishment here. So brutal.
I'll take that $5 later, Matt. That's paid dividends. Getting you in the lead by an X. Oh no, you've lost a point of your lead, haven't
you
you?
could take that $5 and you could split it maybe 4 ways and maybe donate it to the clubs that really need the money. So absolute piece of shit.
Yeah, I can't really split a $5 in half of them, mate. It's
Well, you
polymer-
can just
polymer
go and get some change and then
My
break it down.
convenience shop doesn't give you change. You need to buy something, and if I did that, I'd be left with less than a $5. So
use an electronic transfer. Ask Matthew to write you a check. Scan it through the app. Idiot.
I've actually got a checkbook, to be fair.
right, yeah. Thanks for listening or watching, whatever platform you're on. I'll remind you every week. You'll probably get bored of this if you are still listening at this point. We're on Google. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We've got our YouTube channel. Social media on Instagram and TikTok. It's at Tinpot Pod. New episodes every Tuesday. And until then, thanks Matt, thanks Andrew for joining me, and we'll see you again next week.
Cheers, boys.
See you later.
See you later.